Hi friends, today I'm going to show you how to create a session for AWS Management Console using boto 3 module. Okay, so for this AWS Management Console, if you want to access from our local machine, you have to create one session. So let me show you how to create that session and what are the different types of sessions. So if you observe this, there are two kinds of sessions. One is custom session and default session. Let me go through the custom session first. How to define that? First, to create any Python program, we have to define the boto 3 module. So for AWS Management Console, I'm going to create one variable. You can give any name here. I'm going to create this variable. For boto 3 module, I'm creating session here. Using this session method, I'm create session for that. Here you have to provide the credential for this session. Profile name equal to root. Here I'm going to provide the root credentials. When you set up boto 3 setup in local machine, I already configured the root credential. Let me show you where I did save the credentials. Okay, let me clear this screen. Let me come back here. So if you want to go to that AWS folder, go to users here. After that, go to local user cd. After that, press dir. So if you observe this, this is the folder. When you set up boto 3 setup, this folder will be created. Let me go to that directory. Okay, after that, press dir. If you observe this, so the configuration file is there, credential file is there. Let me open credential file first. So let me copy this credential file. Okay. If you observe this, this is the profile name. So here using this profile, I'm going to pass as argument to access AWS Management Console. Okay. So when you create session, so you are going to access the AWS Management Console from your local machine. You are going to access this AWS Management Console from your local machine. Okay. So let me explain through one program, then you can get idea. So for this I wanted to create I wanted to create a program to list of all the IAM users. Let me show you all IAM users in my console. So if you observe this IAM console, this for this also we have to create one more session using either resource object or client object. So let me explain the resource object client object in the later program. So if you see, these are the two users. I wanted to list off all these two users from my local machine. For that I'm going to write one program. Let me create one more session for IAM console. IAM console using AWS Management Console. So here I'm going to call resource object here for the service. You can pass this name or you can ignore it. No problem. Let me. So either way you can create service name or you can directly provide the service name. No problem. It will treat it as default one. Okay. So for this IAM console, we are going to create one more session. Okay. So for this to list out all the IAM users, I'm going to define a method using boto 3. Boto 3 document this will give you all the methods and variables. Don't go bother about this. So if you click on this IAM boto 3 documentation, so if you observe that we can client object and resource object. To access every resource, we have two types of objects. One is client object and resource object. To in AWS to in the AWS console, if you want to access any resource, you have to access via client object or resource object. For suppose if you want to access EC2, you have to go for either client or resource object. Later session, I will discuss what is the client object and resource object. No worries. So for this I'm going to define a method for this. So let me go through this document and change for the method. So if you observe this, here is the available collection objects. Okay. So if you under this collection we have users. If you call this users in our program, we can list out all the for each IAM user. Okay. This is the variable name. You can use any variable. That is up to you. This is the collection IAM console. So this is the console session for this entire console. Under this you have to method users. For this we have a one method called users. The same way I'm going to call that users, and the method is all. You have to just copy this method. Print each user, each IAM user. Let me save this program. So while you are saving this program, you have to save this program as .py. Okay, let me save this. Already existed, no issues. Let me delete these credentials. Okay, let me save this again. Let me call this. Let me execute this program. Then we can get the idea. So cd. Let me go through my document folder here. Okay, cls. Okay, Python dot list all users. Let me execute this program. Then see the output here. So it will list out all the users who are in my IAM console. So I wanted to change the program for this name. Let me save. Let me execute this program again. If you observe this, these two users are the IAM user from IAM console here, right? So this is how you are going to list out all the IAM users using customized session. So when what is the customized session? When you provided the name profile name, that is called session. If you are not able to provide any session profile name here, then it is called default. Okay, default session. So when only you are provide profile name, then it is called customized session. Now let me change this program. Let me explain the default session. For this, let me configure the credentials again. So for this, let me delete cd users. Let me delete. Let me create from GI mode. So the directory users, and this one we have AWS, right? Now I've deleted this folder AWS file. No more credential for this local machines. So there is no AWS folder. So if you want to configure any default or customized profile, you have to provide the credentials name. AWS will configure -FN profile name root. So when you pass this profile, it is going to create the um, so when you are passing this profile name, it is going to create the customized profile name. So I don't want to create the customized profile now. I want to create the only default session. When you are not going to provide the profile name, it is going to take the default session. Okay. One moment. Yes, configure. Yeah. Okay. So now we are going to create a default session for the root credentials. Okay. Let me go through the root credentials and let me get it for access key and access key ID. Let me copy those two files and then we can create the default session for this. If you click on this, you can, yeah, if you click on my credential, this page will be open. Here you can see the access keys. Just click on this. So these are the credentials. Okay. So let me delete and let me recreate for this. Let me deactivate and delete. Okay, let me create new key, download key file. Let me close this. So now I'm going to create credential for this. Okay. So for this, AWS configure. I'm going to configure the default session for this root. So when you provide profile name root, this is going to create the customized profile. But I don't want to create the customized profile. I want to create the default profile here. So for that, I'm not going to provide any profile name. Let me copy this access key and let me paste here. Now access key for this profile. Let me copy. Paste. Okay. So here if you not provide any region, it is going to take US East 1 hyphen 1. This is the default region. It is going to create the default region for this one. If you provide or not, or you can provide any region name, no issues. So I'm going to provide the JS1 ON format. Okay. So let me check for now here for the .aws folder. So if you observe this, this .aws folder is created. Let me move to .aws folder. Then press dir. Now search for the credentials. Type credentials. So if you observe this, when you not provide any profile name, it is going to take the default name as the root name. So here I created the credentials for root for the default session. So for the default session, we are not going to provide any AWS management console session for this. Okay. So using boto 3 module, you can create the default session. Let me show you how to create that one. So for this, no need of creation any AWS management console session for this. You can directly call that session using boto 3 okay, boto 3 module. Let me delete this AWS management console object. Directly you can create boto 3 module. Using boto 3 module, you can call the session. Already we configured default root credentials over there. So using that credential, the boto 3 is going to call this resource for the IAM. Okay, let me save this and execute, then you can get idea. So let me execute this. So let me execute this program. See, the same output will be displayed here. Okay, for the same IAM users will be displayed here. Okay, so for the what is the let me explain the custom session and default session again. For the custom session, we are going to define the AWS management console. You can give any object name here. So we are going to create boto 3 session. We are defining the session, but We are going to pass profile name equal to true. For the AWS default, and this is the defining a custom session, right? For default session, we are not going to create any session like this. We are going to call any resource like this AWS. Suppose I'm going to create IAM resource. Using directly, you can call this boto 3 module. After that, you can call resource subject for the IAM service. You can provide service name IAM. So for this is default session. Okay, this is how you are going to call the default session. So using boto 3 module, we are going to call any session. This boto 3 will create the session for the AWS management. Under AWS 3 management, using resource object, you can call any service name. For the customer, suppose we can create session like this. This is how you are going to differentiate the custom session and default session. Thank you for watching.